All right, welcome back, Johnny Z.
Well, thank you so much. Thanks for having me back.
Are you awake?
I actually feel great right now.
See, there we go. Always.
That is the best comment I've ever had. Thank you,
That
CC.
youthfulness of Johnny
Oh,
Z.
thank you.
Oh, man. Thank you so much for joining us for KARE 11 News at Noon. We're following a few developing stories. The Federal Reserve is meeting right now to make a decision about interest rates.
Yeah, I'm tracking that story, and I'll have more in the next half hour on that. But first, I'm also following an early morning shooting in Minneapolis, so I'll have an update about what police are saying.
Of course, but first, let's go ahead and take a look at this weather with Johnny Z. I'm not complaining outside.
You like it hot? It's been good. It's been 80 again today. There's been a difference just looking out there. There's clouds. It's been 2 days since we've had any clouds. So today it's breezy again, but it is cloudy as we're starting to try to work in the next system. So you'll see it's a little cooler out west, 77 out in Marshall, 75 in Ortonville, 75 in Wilmer. That's because they've even had a little bit of rain out there, but more cloud cover. It's been thicker clouds, and you can see that here getting closer to that cold front. Couple of sprinkles, but even the thunderstorms that were in the Dakotas, those have even dissipated for the most part. Let me show you how, so you can see it dissipating, but here's why it dissipates. 66-degree dew point in Marshall can hold a few sprinkles, but see how we're in the 50s for dew points? That little rain tries to come across the state and it just gets evaporated. So all we're left over with here in the Twin Cities is some cloud cover, but I do think they'll thicken up here as we head into the next couple of hours. 85 at 3, 84 by 5 o'clock. And with cloud cover, you can't expect to cool off too fast, but it'll be a pretty comfortable night in the upper 70s. We'll track when I think we have the best chance for rain in that full forecast.
John, thank you. We begin with a developing story out of South Minneapolis, where police are investigating a double shooting at a homeless encampment that left one man dead and another hurt. It happened just as our Sunrise newscast came on the air. CC, what have you learned?
Yeah, we were actually there shortly after that shooting happened. Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara told our crews that around 4:40 this morning, ShotSpotter technology alerted officers to at least 4 rounds fired in the Phillips neighborhood. Squads responded to an alley near 17th Avenue South and 26th Street, which is near an encampment of unhoused people. They found a 20-year-old man who had been shot in the head and a man in his 30s with a bullet wound in his neck. Officers performed life-saving measures until paramedics got there, but were told the man who was shot in the head didn't make it. The man with the neck wound was taken to the hospital and is expected to recover, though. Investigators have an idea of who the shooter could be, but that person isn't in custody yet.
We were here last night at the American Indian Center, where we heard from a whole lot of community members in the neighborhood, in the area here, who have just been kind of fed up with a lot of the crime and the violence and the drug use, open drug use that's been associated with a lot of these encampments.
O'Hara says as soon as the crime scene is processed, officers will help Minneapolis City employees clear the encampment for the neighborhood.
CC, did O'Hara say anything else about what they plan to do with the growing encampment problem?
Yeah, so he added that there's been a lot of trouble and a lot of crime associated with the encampments, and a lot of times people come to the police and voice their frustrations. And O'Hara says they're trying to do everything they can with the staffing that they have to address the law enforcement issues surrounding the camps. But the larger issue of the camps is just beyond the police.
An ongoing community conversation I'm sure we will continue to have. CC, thank you. And we're also tracking new developments in the hit and run crash in downtown Minneapolis that killed 16-year-old Demaya Broom. In just 90 minutes, the suspect, 22-year-old Latalia Margali, will face a judge for the first time. And according to a criminal complaint, Margali faces murder and assault charges for allegedly running her car into a crowd of people at 5th and Hennepin and never hitting the brakes. Charging documents we got our hands on in the last 24 hours say that Margali was involved in a fight just before the crash. One of the people involved in that fight was Broom, the victim who was killed. We spoke with her parents on Monday about their daughter and the 5 other people injured.
First of all, we would like for the other families to get through what they going through. You know what I mean? We don't wish this on anybody.
Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty noted this is the 3rd crash in recent months where someone used a car as a weapon. She's cautioning people not to get behind the wheel of a car while angry, saying that rage can be just as deadly as drugs or alcohol. We just learned about an arrest in connection to an apparent threat made on social media that referenced Buffalo High School and several other schools outside the district. The Buffalo Police Department posted on its Facebook page. The BCA and Chaska police worked overnight to investigate an active shooter threat on Snapchat. In the post, they say they arrested a person who is a student in Chaska. School was in session today, and officials posted that they do not believe that there's an ongoing threat to any of the Buffalo area schools. Now to a big story developing in Washington, D.C. The Federal Reserve is expected to slash interest rates in the next hour. Right now, the benchmark rate is 5.3%. Most analysts predict the Fed will shave it down at least a quarter point. For you, this potentially means lower rates on credit cards, auto loans, and mortgages, which is already dropping. Michelle Beck takes a closer look at its potential impacts.
We'll soon see how much the Fed will reduce its benchmark rate, which currently stands at its highest point in 2 decades. And that's going to impact housing. So let me catch you up on the situation that we've been in. High rates have forced people wanting to buy homes to wait on the sidelines. Sellers have also been on the sidelines because no one's buying. But as I learned from Nick Erickson with Housing First Minnesota, things are already changing. Here in the Twin Cities, your mortgage payment is 10% lower if you were to buy today than it would have been almost a year ago at the peak interest rate.
I'll tell you right now, over the last 2 years, 18 months, you've never had more purchasing power than you have had right now. Is now the time we want to get in. So it's now the time we list our house. All this activity, discussion in the market has been good because it has gotten buyers to get off the sidelines, sellers to get off the sidelines.
Well, some experts caution against buying or refinancing too soon because mortgage rates could drop even more. One finance professor from George Mason University says wait a year or even 2 years until rates are possibly below 3%. Back to you.
Michelle, thank you. And in just a few hours, the St. Paul City Council is expected to vote on a controversial cannabis ordinance. The ordinance would allow cannabis sellers to set up shop most places retail stores are allowed, but they wouldn't be allowed within 300 feet of schools or share an entrance with tobacco stores. At a public hearing last week, many said the ordinance is not strict enough. In Hennepin County, we're tracking a possible property tax hike for homeowners. Here's what you need to know.
I'm Danny Spiewak. The Board of Commissioners in Hennepin County has approved a 5.5% increase to the amount of money that will be collected by property taxes in 2025. This is about on par with what Ramsey County has in place for next year, which is 4.75%, and it is much lower than the proposed increases in Minneapolis of 8.1% and St. Paul of 7.9%.
Turning now to the race for the White House, the candidates are crisscrossing the country on their campaign trail over the next few days. Today, former President Trump will hold a rally in New York. It's his first one since the recent apparent assassination attempt against him. As a result, security is expected to be extra tight. Authorities will also use an aerial surveillance and canines to ensure everything is safe. And while Trump is in New York, his running mate J.D. Vance will be campaigning in North Carolina. On the Democratic side, Vice President Kamala Harris will join Oprah Winfrey for a live stream event in Michigan tomorrow before heading to Madison, Wisconsin for a rally on Friday. Well, there's huge news for some cancer patients today. In the last 24 hours, the FDA expanded its approval of the breast cancer drug Kisqali. Now, earlier stage patients will have access to the medication, which could be a game changer for tens of thousands of people. It's a daily pill taken for 3 years, and it works by stopping new cancer cells from growing. It's also being tested to see if it can prevent reoccurrence of cancer. You know, your child's Instagram account is getting an overhaul in the name of safety. Changes to the social media platform just took effect for teen accounts, and they will now automatically be private. And they'll need to be connected with anyone who wants to send them a message, tag them, or mention them in comments. They'll also get a notification if they've spent more than an hour on the app. Kids under the age of 16 will need an adult permission to change those settings.